Topic-specific vocabulary. At the beginning of your I-speaking test, your examiner will ask you several questions about one of these topics: your work, your studies, family, home or hometown. Below, you'll find some simple answers and useful vocabulary. You should not learn them by heart, as you may be penalized for giving memory answers. However, feel free to learn any words and phrase that can help you improve your answers. Family. Do you have a large or small family? My immediate family is small, as I'm an only child. It's just my parents, my husband, and I, but I have 2 uncles and many cousins. Immediate family: parents, husband or wife, and children. Extended family: grandparents, uncles and aunts, cousins. Spouse: your wife or husband. Only child: someone who has no brothers or sisters. I grew up in a large family with 3 younger siblings, 2 brothers and a little sister. Now I'm married and I have 3 children myself: siblings, brothers and sisters. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Well, I have a half-sister. My parents got divorced when I was 18. My father remarried and has a daughter with his wife. Half-sister or half-brother. You have only 1 common parent. Divorced: no longer married because the marriage has been legally ended. Separated: no longer living with your husband or wife. To remarry: to marry again. Widow: a woman whose husband has died. Widower: a man whose wife has died. Do you think it's good to be an only child in the family? With me being an only child, I guess there are pros and cons. There is some stereotype that only children are selfish and spoiled, but I think it really depends on their personality. I do agree that only children get more attention from their parents, but may still feel a bit lonely. Pros and cons. Advantages and disadvantages. Pros and cons. Selfish. Spoiled. Can you tell me something about your family? It was actually my granny, my mom's mom, who brought me up till I was 7. That's because my parents worked in geology and spent most of their time. It was actually my granny, my mom's mom, who brought me up till I was 7. That's because my parents worked in geology and spent most of their time on expeditions to brought up to care for a child. My grandmother brought up 3 sons. My father was brought up to respect authority. Upbringing: the way a child is cared for and taught how to behave while he or she is growing up. I grew up with 5 siblings. My upbringing prepared me for everything. What are your parents like? What is someone like? Describe their appearance, character, and behavior. What do your parents do? Describe their occupation, jobs. My parents are both well-educated, intelligent people. My mom's kind, attentive, and likes taking care of the family. My dad's really energetic and never says no to a challenge. Do you enjoy spending time with your family? I definitely do. Unfortunately, I definitely do. Unfortunately, my family live far away and I don't often get a chance to see them. My in-laws are in Brussels, so it's easy. Sorry, so it's easy to spend the weekend together. Do you get along well with your family? Generally, yes, especially with my mom. My dad is a little short-tempered. That's why we used to quarrel a fair bit when I was younger. But our relationship has improved in recent years. In recent years. Generally, yes. Generally, yes, especially with my mom. My dad's a little short-tempered. That's why we used to quarrel a fair bit when I was younger, but our relationship has improved in recent years. To get along, to have a good relationship, to like each other. Short-tempered, becoming angry quickly and easy. Irrigation. I sometimes quarrel with my sister over domestic chores. 家务吧。Chores.
Chores.
I sometimes quarrel with my sister over domestic chores. There's always been a bit of sibling rivalry between my elder sister and me, but I guess it's inevitable. Inevitable. There's always been a bit of sibling rivalry between my elder sister and me, but I guess it's inevitable. Who are you close to in your family? I'm very close to my mom, even though we live in different countries. We speak several times a week. I was also really close to my grandfather and used to spend my summer holidays with him when I was at school. Sadly, he passed away 2 years ago. Are people in your country generally close to their families? Very. It's not uncommon for 3 generations to live together. Elderly parents usually move in with their children and grandchildren rather than spend their last years in a care home. Very. It's not uncommon for 3 generations to live together. Elderly parents usually move in with their children and grandchildren rather than spend their last years in a care home. Do you live in a house or a flat? I've never lived in a house in my life. A few months ago, I moved to a 2-bedroom flat on the second floor in North London. Apartment. Do you live in a house or flat? I've never lived in a house in my life. A few months ago, I moved to a 2-bedroom flat on the second floor in North London. Could you describe it? It's quite spacious. It's quite spacious for London, with a south-facing living room, a well-equipped kitchen, a master bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, a small guest bedroom, and a study. Spacious. An open-plan living room. Your kitchen and the living room are together. A master bedroom. An ensuite bathroom is directly connected to a bedroom. A guest bedroom. A spare bedroom for your guest. a study, an office, a conservatory, a room with glass walls and a glass roof. What kind of building do you live in? I live in a four-story red brick mansion built in the 1930s. It has nice architecture and a private garden that we share with other residents. I live on the second floor of a four-story building. Story building.
Story.
I live in a modern high-rise building in a gated development. We have a good range of facilities on its territory, a supermarket, a gym, and a couple of coffee shops. I live in a typical single-story house with a small garden at the back and a parking space at the front. Our neighbor's house looks very similar. I live in a typical single-story house with a small garden at the back and a parking space at the front. Our neighbor's house looked very similar. What do you like about living there? I like that most of the rooms face south. It means we get a lot of natural light. The living room has an open view overlooking a green lawn. What's more, the location is really convenient. All the facilities are within walking distance, and it takes half an hour by tube to get to central London. Could you describe your favorite room? I would say it's the living room because it's the most spacious room in the flat, with two big windows, a comfy sofa, and a big glass table where we eat dinner every night. That's a room where the whole family gathers together. Would you change anything about your home? There's quite a lot. Actually, before we moved in, we only had time to do a basic refurnishment. We changed the floors and repainted the walls a creamy color. We still need to buy lamps and decorations, and at some point redo the bathroom completely. I love my house a lot the way it is, but there's always a scope for improvement, I guess. Would you like to move to a different home in the future? What sort of accommodation would you most like to live in? One day I'd like to live in a house with more space and privacy. My dream house would have a large open plan living dinner area, a garden with a barbecue, and a conservatory to make the most out of sunny days. There's no place like home. Feel like home. I was born in Kazakhstan, but I lived in London for so long that it feels like home now. Are you from a town or village? Suburb. Rural area. I'm from a city called Almaty. Almaty is a former capital of Kazakhstan. I'm from a small village called Taki in South Kazakhstan. What is your hometown like? It's quite a large and modern city of over 2 million people. It's growing fast because many people move there to work or study. I like it hustle and bustle. The city is located in the foothills of the Alatu Mountains, which means that the views are beautiful and we can easily go hiking in summer and skiing in winter. Hustle and bustle. A large amount of activity and work usually in a noisy surrounding. Hustle and bustle. Hustle and bustle.
Hustle and bustle.
Hustle and bustle. It's quite a large and modern city of over 2 million people. It's growing fast because many people move there to work or study. I like its hustle and bustle. The city is located in the foothill of the Alachua Mountains, which means that the views are beautiful and we can easily go hiking in summer and skiing in winter. A bustling city for people moving about. What kind of public transport are there in your hometown? There are buses, electric trolley buses, and trains, and one metro line. It took over 20 years to build. That's definitely not enough for such a large city. As a result, most people use cars and traffic congestion is a major problem. Most people use cars and traffic congestion is a major problem. Public transport. Travel by public transport. Traffic congestion. Traffic jam. Jenna, what are people like in your hometown? I find that people are generally friendly and quite open. I mean, they share personal information with you freely, so it's easy to make friends. But I must admit that not everyone respects the queue, so queue jumping is quite common, which stresses me out. Jump the queue to go to the front of a line of people without waiting for your turn. Talkative, like to talk. To respect the queue, to jump the queue. What is it known for? What is the most interesting part of your town? What would you recommend a visitor to see or do in this town? On the outskirts of Amity, there is an outdoor skating rink called Meadow. It's famous because its high altitude and it's even hosted some international competitions. I think it's definitely worth seeing, even for people who don't skate, because the views from there are simply breathtaking. On the outskirts of the city, near the edge of the city, far from the city center. To be worth seeing, breathtaking, very beautiful, breathtaking. Breathtaking. On the outskirts of the city, near the edge of the city, far from the city center. To be worth seeing, breathtaking, very beautiful, a breathtaking view. What kind of jobs do the people in your town or village do? I suppose that most people work in manufacturing. I know that there are some big factories in Amity. Others work in small business, such as shops and restaurants. Amity is known as the financial center of Kazakhstan, which means that some of the country's largest banks and the stock exchange are also based in the city. Has your hometown changed much since you were a child? A lot. When I see old photographs of Amity, I can hardly recognize it. When I see old photographs of Amity, I can hardly recognize it. It used to be a quite medium-sized town, but in recent years, big developments have sprung up like mushrooms. The city center is now dominated by glasses and concrete offices and big shopping malls. I think the city has almost doubled in size in the last 20 years and has completely changed its appearance. It used to be
To spring up like mushrooms, to grow very quickly. Talking about buildings. To spring up like mushrooms, glass and concrete offices, shopping malls. To double in size. Would you say it's a good place to live? Why? I think there are a lot of great things about it. I like its climate, the hot, sunny summer, and snowy winters. I also think that Almaty's university are the best in the country, and the city offers good job opportunities. However, traffic congestion and related air pollution are big problems in the city and need to be addressed. Great job opportunity, limited job opportunity, traffic congestion, air pollution. Do you work or study? I graduated last year and now I work full-time. I'm employed full-time. I work for Coca-Cola. I was unemployed for several months and have just joined a new company. I was employed for about half a year, and 2 months ago I joined a new company. What is your job? It's just an admin 9 to 5 office job. I'm a personal assistant at a law firm. 9 to 5, the normal working hours in the office. I work 9 to 5, 9 to 9. 9 to 9 a day, 6 days a week. I've been working in accounting for a few years, and now I'm a senior accountant at a big multinational corporation. I've been working in accounting as an accountant for 3 years. This is a great opportunity to use the present perfect continuous tense. I've been working in accounting for a few years, and now I'm a senior accountant at a big multinational corporation. Alternationist. I've been working in accounting for a few years, and now I'm a senior accountant at a big multinational corporation. Why did you choose this job? Why did you choose this job? Both of my parents are lawyers. I guess it runs in the family. Equality, ability, disease, and so on runs in the family. Many members of the family have it. I needed a job, and the office across the road advertised a vacancy. So I thought, why not? Advertise a vacancy. I guess I choose to become a photographer. I guess I choose to become a photographer because I deeply fond of photography. In my occupation, no 2 days alike. To be fond of something, to like something for a long time. An occupation, profession, or job. In my occupation, no 2 days alike. Occupation. Is it a popular job in your country? Absolutely. Every company needs an accountant. I suppose it's a popular job in every country. Not really. It seems that most people don't think that being a YouTuber is a real job. Do you like your job? The perk of being a travel agent is that I have traveled to so many destinations for free. The pay could be better though. The perk.
Perk.
The perk, something you receive as well as your wages for doing a particular job, high-paid job, low-paid job. It's not a lucrative job. Accounting can be a bit boring at times, but the money is good. Being a teacher is not a high-paid job, but a deeply reward one. reward job, reward career, reward work, occupation. I find something satisfying in recording every little transaction correctly. What do you dislike about your job? I have to work overtime quite regularly, and I'd prefer not to. Overtime. I have to work overtime quite regularly, but I hope not to. Sometimes the amount of work is simply overwhelming, and other times it's so quiet that I have nothing to do. Do you get on well with your colleagues? To get along with? To have a friendly relationship with somebody. I'm lucky to work with very nice people, and we all sometimes have drinks together after work. I have a good working relationship with most of my colleagues, but I prefer to keep my private and professional lives separate. I have a good working relationship with most of my colleagues. I have a good working relationship with most of my colleagues, but I prefer to keep my private and professional lives separate. What was your first day at work like? What was your first day at work like? I had an induction day when my manager explained how things work in more details and took me around the office to introduce me to my colleagues. Induction. I have an induction day with I had an induction day when my manager explained how things work in more detail and took me around the office to introduce me to my colleagues. What responsibilities do you have at work? I'm responsible for answering calls and booking appointments for new clients. I also support more senior colleagues. I also support more senior colleagues with any admin tasks, such as updating reports, answering emails, or collecting information. What is your typical day like at work? What is your typical day like at work? I usually start at 9 a.m. and take about an hour to answer all the emails or finish any small but urgent tasks for the day. Then I start working on more important projects, such as creating new courses or recording new videos. And the day flies by. And the day flies by. I only take a short lunch break and try to finish no later than 7 p.m. Time flies. Would you like to change your job in the future? I'd like to progress with my career in accountancy and gain more responsibilities in the future, so I may change jobs one day. I'm thinking about moving to auditing in a couple of years. What? What's going on? I just need to gain the required skills and knowledge first. Studies. Did work or study? I'm in the final year of my bachelor's degree and I'm graduating this summer. I'm a first year student. I'm in the second year of my master's degree, to graduate from university. What do you study? I am studying for a bachelor's degree in international economics, which at my university includes courses in economics, business, law, international relations, and 2 foreign languages. To pursue a bachelor's degree in economics, to study for a master's degree in business, to do a master's in law, British informal, I have a double major. I have a double major in economics and business. I believe this combination gives me an understanding of how the economy works in general and also equips me with more practical skills to run a business. I major in accounting. It is quite narrow, but I feel that it is quite narrow, but I feel that this degree can give me an advantage when it comes to job hunting. To have a double major in X and Y, to study two main subjects. To major in X, job hunting, headhunter. Is it a popular subject at university? Is it a popular subject at your university? Oh yes, I have heard that this is the most sought after subject in the whole university. Apparently, the competition is even higher than for medical. Is there anything you don't like about your programming? Programming. Programming. Programming.
Program. Program.
Is there anything you don't like about your program? Well, there are some courses that I don't feel I need. At my university, there is no division between compulsory and optional modules. They are all compulsory, and sadly, we have no opportunity to tailor the program to our interest. Tailor the program to our interest. Compulsory modules, optional modules. When it comes to your studies, what do you find most challenging? Definitely the exam periods. The problem is that we study between 2 and 12 modules in each semester, which is a lot. What makes it worse is that most of them are assessed based on final exams. This means that every January and June we take around 10 exams over a period of 3 weeks. The workload is just crazy. It's difficult to keep up with the workload because if I relax just a little and don't do my homework for a few days, I immediately fall behind with my study. It's difficult to keep up with the workload because if I relax just a little and don't do my homework for a few days, I immediately fall behind with my studies. Generally, yes. Do you get along with your classmates? Generally, yes. I have two close friends with whom I spend a lot of time, and I'm no friendly terms with everyone is. I do my best to avoid conflicts at university. If you could study a different course, what would it be? If you could study a different course, what would it be? Sometimes I think that I should have applied to study medicine. I wanted to become a doctor and I had the required grades. But back then, I was scared of the long training and low salaries. Now, I think that the most important thing is to do what you really like, even if it's not easy. So, if I could change my program now, I would study to become a doctor. What are you planning to do after you graduate? I'd like to work at a bank. So, I'm already applying for some graduate positions in corporate banking and hope to secure a place before I graduate. To work for a graduate position, a job for university graduates only. To secure a place, to get a job, to secure a place. Why did you choose to study at university? Why did you choose to study this subject? Is it important to select a career while you are still young? There many people with your profession in your city?